The funeral of Diane Keaton took place in a somber and mournful atmosphere. Hundreds of Hollywood stars attended that day, and no one uttered a word. Everything only erupted when Jack Nicholson stepped up to the podium. He looked straight at Diane's portrait, his voice trembling as if breaking from the heart. "She will forever be the secret in my heart, and there will never be another Diane in this world." That sentence silenced the entire hall, leaving only the faint sobs of Dexter, Diane's daughter, echoing softly. Jack spoke about the days he spent filming with Diane, about the gentleness, humor, and light she brought with her. "I have loved Diane for a very long time, but I never said it," he choked up, "and now it's too late." Everyone at the funeral was stunned, heartbroken for the legendary star, Jack Nicholson, a successful man burdened with a lifelong regret. What exactly had Jack Nicholson kept hidden for more than 50 years? Did Diane Keaton ever know he loved her? And who else broke down in tears at that deeply emotional funeral? The news of Diane Keaton's passing struck like lightning across Hollywood's already lost sky. She passed away peacefully at her private home in Los Angeles, aged 79, after battling several illnesses. According to family members, in her final days, Diane still kept her gentle smile, still talked with her children, and quietly listened to her favorite jazz tunes. Her funeral was held on a quiet morning in Los Angeles. People said Diane never liked noise. She always chose private, simple, and meaningful moments. Therefore, her funeral carried the same spirit, gentle, discreet, and reserved for those who truly knew and loved her. The small memorial room, bathed in warm golden light, was adorned with bouquets of peonies and white chrysanthemums, Diane's favorite flowers. Dexter and Duke, the two children Diane adopted, were the souls of the ceremony. In the days before, they personally called everyone, sending heartfelt invitations. Not a single press release was issued. They wanted their mother's funeral to be a place for love, not public mourning. The guest list was kept confidential, but everyone knew that familiar faces from the art world were present. Woody Allen, Nancy Meyers, Goldie Hawn, Jane Fonda. The atmosphere was drenched in memories. Black and white photos were hung around the room. Diane as Annie Hall with her tilted smile and fedora, Diane holding Pacino's hand backstage at The Godfather, Diane embracing her children at the Something's Got to Give premiere. Each picture was a piece of her life, reminding everyone that she was not only an actress, but also a friend, a mother, a woman who lived every moment to the fullest. The piano began to play "It Had to Be You," a song Diane once sang on an old talk show, and many couldn't hold back their tears. When Dexter took the podium, her voice trembled but remained steady. "My mother never wanted pity. She wanted to be remembered with a smile, through her roles and through the kindness she brought to this world." Duke stood beside her, and both bowed deeply. However, the atmosphere completely changed when Jack Nicholson stepped up to speak. The small room seemed to hold its breath. He walked slowly, dressed in a black suit with silver hair and his familiar dark glasses. Only his eyes looked heavy. Nicholson, now 88, held a trembling sheet of paper but folded it back, looked directly at Diane's photo, and began speaking in his deep, husky voice. "She wasn't just a co-star," he began, his voice thick with emotion. "She was a light, a strange, gentle light that never went out." Below, many began to wipe away tears. On the screen behind him appeared Diane in Something's Got to Give, her faint smile, her sparkling eyes. Jack looked up and smiled softly. "She made the whole world fall in love, and I was one of them." Nicholson recalled their first meeting in the mid-1970s, a time when everything in Hollywood was burning with creativity and madness. Diane was then a rising star with her fedora and quirky style, while Jack was already the star of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. "I remember walking into the room, and everyone seemed drawn to her, not because she tried, but because she was simply herself. I had never met anyone like that," he said, his voice roughening. Years later, fate brought them back together for Something's Got to Give in 2003. "We thought we were too old to talk about love," Nicholson said. "But then Diane made me believe in it again, the trembling, foolish, and beautiful feeling of loving someone. She did that not through acting, but through her heart." He paused, took a deep breath, then continued. "Diane had the ability to turn every little thing into something profound. She could make an ordinary line sound philosophical. She cared about truth, not just on screen but in life. A brief silence fell. The flickering candlelight reflected off his face, making the room feel real, as though everyone was listening to a farewell from one of Hollywood's golden eras. Nicholson said that after Something's Got to Give, though they rarely met, they kept in touch. We called, joked, sometimes went months without talking, but whenever we did, it was as if no time had passed. That was Diane, never blaming, never distant. He smiled softly, as if recalling those late-night calls and gentle jokes only the two shared. Then his voice grew deeper. I still remember. He stopped, his voice trembling. Then came the words that would forever mark that day. The last thing I want to say, something I've never told anyone, not even her. I once held secret feelings for Diane. The room froze. All the quiet sobs suddenly ceased, leaving only the faint crackling of candle flames. Some looked at each other, thinking he was joking. Everyone knew Jack Nicholson, the worldly man famous for his affairs and confident smile. But he didn't smile. He bowed his head, his voice breaking. It was the kind of love that makes you silent. I would sit for hours just listening to her talk, just to see the light in her eyes when she smiled. But I was afraid. Afraid that if I said it, the beautiful thing between us would disappear. He continued trembling. She once told me, Jack, don't be afraid to love. Only be afraid not to dare. But I wasn't brave enough. I thought I had time. I thought she'd always be there with that fedora and that strange laugh. I was wrong. In the guest seats, some bowed their heads, some sobbed uncontrollably. A faint sob came from Dexter, Diane's adopted daughter, as she covered her mouth while Duke, her son, stood frozen, as if witnessing a truth their mother had carried all her life. Jack paused, sniffled softly, then looked down at the hall, hundreds of people silent, no one daring to breathe. Then he spoke the final words, his voice thick with emotion. There will never be another Diane Keaton. Not in 1,000 years. I loved her. We all loved her. The hall burst into choked sobs for a love confessed too late, a secret finally spoken after half a century. As Jack stepped down, La Vie en Rose played, the song Diane once called the sound of things gone but not lost. In that gentle air, people felt as if she was still smiling somewhere, quietly listening to an old friend retell a story of friendship, love, and a light that never fades. After Jack Nicholson left the podium, the room remained heavy with silence thick with emotion. Diane Keaton, though gone, seemed still present somehow. In the air, in the glimmering light reflected from the photo of her smiling amid the white flowers.